Hey everybody, it's Dina Rico with the Creativity Cave, and I have two gorgeous cards to share with you today. They are both beautiful, and I've got great tips and tricks for each of them for you, and I think you're going to like them. So we're going to start with the Fall Leaves card. This is using the Colorful Seasons bundle, which I love. It's so pretty. And you can see this is a stamp set I've actually showcased quite a few times. I love this set because it uses all the different seasons of the year all in one set, which is wonderful. And by the way, if you're geeking out, I did get a manicure today. It is so unlike me. I can't even stand it. There's weird stuff on my nails. But it was homecoming last night for my daughter, so we got manicures together because that's what moms and daughters do, right? So I'm kind of excited. And I'll post pictures from homecoming on my Facebook page, so you can check that out. But here is my first card, and I've used the solid leaf in here, which I just love. You can see mine has been well used because it's got a lot of color on it. And I'm going to take a piece of very vanilla. I really had to think about that for a second. And kind of a cool color combination, which I really like. I've got crushed curry, Cajun craze, fresh fig, and then some early espresso. And I think these colors are fantastic together. So I'll start by doing this leaf with crushed curry. I'm going to stamp off. Like seriously, I don't know what to do with my fingers because it's all weird because there's stuff on them. And by the way, I think this right here is the start of a gorgeous card as is. I just love the stamped off look of this flower or leaf. For whatever reason, it just looks fantastic, just stamped off for what I don't know what it is. Okay, so I'm going to clean that off and move on to my next darkest color. Oh, actually, that's not true. Hold on. I'm grabbing one piece of cardstock. We gotta do this is the largest stitched shape circle, so I'll just do 2 on here, okay? And then we're going to come back to this, and then we'll move on to our Cajun craze. Next, I love this color because this just is, of course, the epitome of a fall color, right? I mean, and what's really important about this is that you alter the direction of the leaves so that they're not all pointed in the exact same direction, because then that gets really boring. And again, this is gorgeous. But then I added the third color, which oh wait, I did it again. I gotta stamp my flower, seriously, my leaf. Oh my gosh. If you're a longtime viewer of the Creativity Cave videos, you might recall the pumpkin pineapple incident of 2015. Maybe it was 2016, but regardless, it was bad. Okay, now I legit cleaned this stamp. And just got a little rogue framelit there. The reason I cleaned it off is because I don't want my Cajun craze getting into my fresh fig, because that would be kind of a weird color combination. Again, with the stamping off, we'll just do that and kind of have this going all over like so. And I just think this is so beautiful. I hope you guys like this too. And then likewise, we'll do this over here. And I love the layering that you get with these colors. So it's just so pretty. Okay, I'll close. Oh, actually, no, I don't want to close this one up because I'm going to do one more. I've got a fresh fig card base, which I'm going to fold, and then I'm going to stamp leaves around the edge of my card base. Now, this might be kind of a subtle look for you, but do you see the difference? I think it really adds a nice little texture to that background. So, and again, changing directions, overlapping, all that good stuff to get this look. So, you know, my daughter's out for homecoming right now, and I have to laugh because she turns 16 next week. But this week, Mom had to take her to the homecoming dance because her date's not 16 either. So my poor kid, they had to slum it with Mom. In fact, I pulled up to the dance. I'm like, do you want me to drop you off where no one can see that I'm the one dropping you off? And she's like, that's okay, Mom. It was kind of funny. Okay, so I'm taking and putting early espresso with the detail flower, and isn't this just gorgeous? So I've got those going down the side, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment and then add a couple to my circle as well. And I realize it's getting really dark, but my background paper especially, kind of messy, but it's worth all that effort. So here is my thanks for everything. This is from All Things Thanks, that stamp set. And then I'll just add my little leaves like so, and that just kind of helps tie everything together, at least I think. All right, now I'm going to close this ink pad up before anything bad happens. Set that over there, and I'm going to adhere this stitched shape to a layering circle, scalloped circle that is, and we'll adhere these two layers together. Looking good. And then I'm going to take and layer this onto my piece of cardstock. Now I die cut that circle out of this, but because I'm covering it up, I can use that piece. This will get sandwiched on my card, so it doesn't even matter. And I just like that because it saves cardstock, and that's a larger shape. So whenever I go into my scraps, I never have that big a size available. I always have little smaller ones, but never such a big one. Okay, so I'm going to take and pop this up onto my card. I'm also going to take and add a little ribbon and a little glitz to this, okay? So I haven't taken the backings off quite yet. You can see it'll go on my card like this. I'm going to take some of my Fresh Fig ribbon and just wrap this around my card. So I just need a piece ever so larger than my card itself. And I will adhere the ends with some fast fuse because it's good and sticky. And we'll just scooch that down so it's not crooked. Then I'm also going to take some gold metallic thread and adhere that as well. So I like to put just a little extra adhesive on here so I can take the end and touch it into my adhesive to hold it in place. And then I'm going to wrap it around several times, kind of over. Oh, and that just fell on the floor. I hate when that happens because then it kind of rolls out a bunch. But I'm just wrapping this around several times, and you can see I'm going off even a little onto the card. Now I want to stick that into my adhesive again. We'll snip the end, and then there's my gold thread, which I think adds kind of a fun touch. All right, I'm going to put this onto my card. And of course, one of the things that I love, especially on a card like this, is spritzing it. Now, I'm doing the spritzing not to cover up that little thing that I did there, but to just add to the card itself. I think it's kind of cool to get that look on a card just like this. So I'll put dimensional on the top and bottom. Add that to my card. And then I'm going to get my Fresh Fig marker. And isn't this my Fresh Fig? Yes. Whew, just checking. And then I'm just spritzing right on there. And look at how beautiful that is. Now, of course, I always think one more step, right? One more step. I'm going to take my Wink of Stella and spritz it onto my card. I'm just tapping it on here. I tap it against my scissors, but you can use whatever you've got handy, a pen or what have you. And then look at the shimmer that that creates. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay, so that's my first card. Let's do the second card. This one uses probably my favorite set right now, which is the Painted Harvest stamp set. So beautiful. So let me bring my sample card back in so you can see it. Isn't this gorgeous? So I have a slightly different color palette on this one. First of all, you can see I added some green. I'll get a nice clean background paper to start with. I'm using the exact same sizes of papers on this card as I did my last card, but I'm just changing up the colors a little. So here I have Rich Razzleberry and Elegant Eggplant, along with Old Olive and Pear Pizzazz, and then again some Early Espresso, but the centers of these are a little lighter shade of brown, which is Soft Suede. And remember, this is that gorgeous Painted Harvest bundle, and then we're going to use the punch that goes with this leaf image in the stamp set, and I love this. Now I've got some really good tips for you on this one, and in case you weren't sure, I have indeed tried this out. I practiced lining this up quite a few times. As you can see, this is actually just one of the sheets, but I have come to discover a couple of tips for you on lining this up, because I know that is a little tricky. And first of all, I would say the biggest tip that I have for you is to not stress out about lining it up, honestly. I think it's not too bad. Now here's my color combination, which I know there's a ton of colors on here, but Elegant Eggplant, Rich Razzleberry, Old Olive, Pear Pizzazz, Crumb Cake, Soft Suede, and Early Espresso. Woo, how's that? We're going to focus on the first two right now, colors, because that's what our flowers are going to be stamped out of. Now, when putting these together, I found that it's really helpful, and I've actually gone back and forth, by the way, between which image I stamp first, and I don't think it really matters, okay? So I'm going to start with the larger image, because that's kind of what I usually do, okay? And I've got that stamped down. So pretty. Then I'll take the more detailed image, ink that up. Now, if you look on here, there is kind of a solid heart part of this, okay? That is going to line up right over here. All right. You can do all sorts of different combinations to get this lined up. Another is I like these two. I say they look like little lips. And then you're going to line those lips up with these coordinating two pieces. It really doesn't matter, but you just kind of want to get in there. Now the other, I think you guys know, if you've watched any of my videos, my biggest tip for stamping is, of course, to make sure your butt is sticking out. So that is for sure my trick of the trade. But I'm lining this up so that the center is a little bit lined up. I think I did a pretty good job. Not perfect, but not bad. So I got my centers, edges kind of lined up, and then my little pointy thingies here and here. Okay, and then I'll take and stamp the center with Soft Suede. I tried Early Espresso on one of these somewhere along the line, and it was just a little darker than I wanted it to be. But when I did the Soft Suede, I liked it because it was not quite as dark. Now, if you get that little halo right there, just stamp it again a couple times. And I'm even kind of doing it at an angle, so I'm just getting that little area. But I stamped it a few times to get it so there wasn't a white line. Okay, now I'm going to cut this out. Oh, gosh, look at that. That was amazing. Sorry, I have to stamp it one more time, though, because I didn't do my center on this one. But I had this cut ahead of time just so you didn't have to watch me cut it on camera. And I love how beautiful this flower is. Now, when I cut, as you can see, I like to leave just a little edge of my cardstock showing. But isn't this beautiful? So pretty. Okay, so we'll get rid of this. Now I'm going to do the same thing on my card, though, and do my stamping on here. So we'll get many times to practice. So I'll just do one there, one up here. I'm already getting ink on stuff, and that's okay because we're going to add lots of images on here to kind of cover that all up. I like to keep wet wipes near my work surface too, and that really helps cut down on any issues I might have with getting ink on things when I remember to use them, of course. So again, just lining that up. Not half bad, not perfect. It's hard to get it like just whatever your version of 100% perfect really is. And I think ultimately it looks good regardless, so I don't stress out about it too much. Okay, so there we go. And this is our background anyway, so who cares, right? All right, next I'm going to bring in a stamp that I love, and I haven't pulled it out in a few weeks, so I really wanted to get into this, and that is my musical score background stamp. This is just such a versatile stamp, and I thought it would pair perfectly with this Painted Harvest stamp set. Now I inked it up in crumb cake cardstock. I'm getting rid of one layer of ink, and then I'm going to place my cardstock on here and get that lighter color onto my background like so. And I love that it's a little uneven, kind of darker and lighter in areas, which is exactly what I was looking for. Okay, now next, this definitely needs some green. So let's pull some of that out. We'll close up these colors that we're done with, and we're going to grab our pear and our old olive. Now these two, I'm going to start with kind of the branchier leafy image. There is a solid and a detail of this, so you can kind of see this one's a little more solid. So I'll stamp that, and I'm just going to stamp this in Pear Pizzazz around my card, and I think you'll agree that this just fills things in so beautifully, and you can just kind of have things going in different directions to just kind of add some of the color to fill this in, you know, because we want it to not be too plain. All right, I'll do the detail again over the top, and this is another one where I apologize. I'm getting my head in here because that means my butt is sticking out, and look at how good things line up when you do that. So really get in there. I was thinking I threw my hair in a bun right before I started filming, and I hope it isn't goofy looking because I didn't look in the mirror. But I think this looks good. And then when I was making this card, the other thing that I thought would kind of fill up some of that space a little bit was, well, actually, one more thing. After the fact, here we go. I also stamped off a couple of these just to get a couple lighter leaves in there, not just so, you know, it kind of filled things out. The other thing that I decided to do was to take my sponge and sponge the edges with some Pear Pizzazz ink. Now I'm not going to sponge the edge that is stamped in the flowers, just the edges that have no flowers, because I don't want the green to look weird against the bluey or purpley colors. Okay, and then I realized I haven't done the centers of mine, so we'll make sure and get those covered in. So pretty. Oh, I just love this stamp set. Okay, now I'm taking one more stamp set. You can use whatever you'd like. I chose to use the Count Your Blessings stamp set, and I think I have that. Yes, I do. Right here. By the way, did you know I have an online class for the Painted Harvest, the stamp set, and one of the add-ons is this Count My Blessings, which is so pretty. And I'm going to take the Thinking of You out of here and stamp that in Early Espresso because I wanted a rich color to really kind of stand off against this background. And I'm just getting rid of my ink a little bit here. Okay. So we'll stamp that right here. Whew, it's right side up. Okay, now one last thing before we assemble this is we're going to stamp a couple of leaves with our images and then punch them out with a coordinating punch, because of course I love that there is a coordinating punch for this. So I'm going to use my Pear and Olive inks once more, and we'll do Pear Pizzazz a couple of times. And notice I have the stems pointing downward because that's how they will, ooh, I got that off a little bit. That's how they'll line up with our punch just right. Okay, so here is our leaf punch. We'll line it up in there and boom, and boom. I love that punching makes it so easy. And then I'm going to kind of wiggle each petal, or I guess leaf, just to give it some dimension, because you know I like that. And then I'm going to do the same to my flower, like so. Okay. And then last but not least, let's put all of this together. Now I jazzed it up just a touch with some silver metallic thread in this case. You could use gold too. I mean, it doesn't matter. And I'm just wrapping this around my 4 fingers several times. And just like before, I'm going to snip that off. And I'm just going to put a little adhesive there in the center. And then I'll just kind of stick this down. And like I always say, I like to make sure the ends are touching the adhesive just so that they kind of stay in place. And then we'll pop this up right over the top, the flower, to hold it into place. Okay, and then we'll add our leaves. So we're almost done. We're doing 2 kind of fancy schmancy cards today, and it's taken just over 20 minutes. Not bad. All right, so there is my flower. We'll tuck in our leaves. I'm just going to put a little fast fuse on here. Now, did you know that the 1st to the 15th of this month, there's some awesome specials? If you go to my blog, well, I'll have the link in the description of this video as well as on my blog so that you can kind of see what these specials are. There's several stamp sets, and then there's a great fast fuse special. And that is so awesome. And it's all in honor of World Card Making Day. Isn't that beautiful? So let's layer this one up as well. We're going to place it on some elegant eggplant cardstock. And doesn't that just pop now? Oh, so pretty. And then I have a rich raspberry card base. And then we'll pop this up on top of that as well. Okay. And then, of course, just like the last card, I got to put a little Wink of Stella on here, don't you think? I mean, really. It's so pretty. So one thing on my sample, I just spritzed it, but what if we kind of colored a little on as well? So I like adding that shimmer. It's just so pretty. I'm kind of leaving the center blank so the highlights are on the petals. I can do a little on the card as well. And then and just like before, I'm going to smack it against here so that my whole card is pretty. Okay, and then you can see all that shimmer. It's so gorgeous. It's really hard for that to show up in the photos, so that's why I like to make sure you can see it in the cards. So anyway, it is so awesome to stamp with you. Of course, please check out my online store and order some of these projects. I also will have the link to the online class for this gorgeous oh my gosh, what is the name of this set? Painted Harvest. Oh my goodness. I'll have a link because I have an online class for this, and I actually have an online class for that one as well. So check those out in my in the link to the description of this video or in my blog post. Either place you can find all of the supplies I used as well as links to my online store. And I, of course, appreciate your business oh so much. It helps me bring more awesome videos just like this to you each week. Thank you so much for stamping with me today, guys. Have a great week. Bye-bye.